Hello guys, this is What About Nintendo. Today I'm here for a quick little video to talk about the reason I think there are no follow Pokemon or Pokemon roaming the wild like there is in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Let's get right on into it. So one of the things that was quite controversial in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was that there were Pokemon out in the wild. Follow Pokemon was just kind of generally accepted as being cool, I think. I don't think that was controversial, but definitely having Pokemon out in the wild and no wild battles was definitely a controversial move. And some of us were hoping that we'd see it in Sword and Shield in Gen 8, but when it was revealed, obviously we see no sign of follow Pokemon or Pokemon out in the wild, and there's definitely wild Pokemon battles because you see them going in the grass. It's definitely random encounters this time, not running into a Pokemon that you see out in the overworld. So why is this? Why? Some people have been asking, why aren't there follow Pokemon? Why aren't there Pokemon out in the wild? And I think that there could be multiple reasons for this. It could be that Game Freak simply didn't want that in the main series. Maybe they just want that in the Let's Go series, and maybe they'll have another Let's Go series come out based around Johto remake, and they'll have follow Pokemon, and they'll have Pokemon on the wild for that, and they wanted that exclusive to that series, but they wanted to keep the core series more similar to the old games. Or, my personal theory is that Let's Go could have been a testing the water situation. They wanted to have Pokemon roaming around the wild, and they wanted to see how people would respond to it. And obviously that game just came out last November, so we didn't really know, they didn't really get that kind of information till just a few months ago, and they wouldn't even have time to take that and then use that information to put it into the next Pokemon game, since it's already coming out this year and they already have most of this stuff done for that kind of thing. There's also the point that it was a very divisive decision. There were a lot of people who really didn't like the fact that random encounters were gone. There were a lot of people who really did like it. So it was a very split fan base, and for them to make two games with that in a row caters only to one side of the fan base who liked it. So generally I think there's three big reasons why Pokemon out in the wild aren't a thing, and I think it's a mixture of these three reasons. First off, I think it was Game Freak's decision to keep it in the Let's Go series. I think that was initially what they were wanting to do. Keep it in the Let's Go series and keep the normal, generations more similar to the older ones. And number two, that they wanted to see how people would react to it in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee before putting it into a mainline game. And three, it's a very decisive decision, which leads back to the first one of why they would want to keep it in Let's Go and not bring it to the main series, because it is very decisive, so you don't want to have such a decisive decision made every single time towards just one audience. So that's why I think that Pokemon out in the wild are not in Sword and Shield. However, there is still the issue of follow Pokemon, and this one baffles me. To be honest, I don't really have a clear line of reasoning why I think this is the case. I don't think it's hardware restrictions. While Sword and Shield is definitely a step up from any of the older games, and any games we've seen on Switch like Pokemon Let's Go, it's not so much of an upgrade that I don't see follow Pokemon being able to run. I don't know if maybe it's because of the amount of Pokemon that are in this game. They didn't want to create follow animations for every single one of them. Or maybe it's because, there are bigger Pokemon that exist now than there were in Gen 1. Because they had, the big rock snake guy. I'll put up the name here. I'm bad with Pokemon names. But now they have like a whale lord or anything that's like huge, like an actual freaking whale. It's just gigantic. They have giant Pokemon now. So maybe they just thought there were some Pokemon who were just too big, and they didn't want to make follow Pokemon because they wouldn't be able to make follow Pokemon for everyone. That could definitely be a possibility. That's kind of what I'm going with, because I don't see it being a graphical issue. I don't see it being a hardware issue. I see it more as it would just take a lot of time to make follow animations for every single last Pokemon, and some Pokemon may be just a bit too big for you to be following around with them, though. Personally, I would have liked it even if you just had a miniature version following behind you. I think that would be cool. There's also the off chance that perhaps you know, it does seem that Game Freak isn't showing us everything, and I'm going to make a separate video on that, maybe tomorrow, we'll see what happens, but it does seem like they're holding back a lot of secrets in this game, so perhaps there is fall Pokemon, they just haven't shown us. Maybe the build that they had didn't have fall Pokemon because they're still working on that. Who knows? I think that's not very likely, but it's still a possibility. That's my reasoning on why Game Freak didn't put follow Pokemon or Pokemon roaming out in the wild in Pokemon Sword and Shield. However, maybe you have a different opinion on why this is. Or maybe you think that there will be in the final version of the game. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell icon for notifications of all my videos. Also, make sure to share this video with everyone you know who's a big Pokemon fan. I'll see all you awesome dudes later on What About Nintendo. Bye!